They say the dead cross over, but no one ever speaks of the space in between. That fragile space where the living and the lost still touch. Most never even know it's there. But in one small apartment in Vallecas, that line didn't just blur, it ruptured.
She drinks her tea with spider legs, her corset laced with gossamer thread. Dolores hums in candlelight while spinning tales to raise the dead.
It started with a call, close to midnight, not a break-in or a fight, just one strange line from the dispatcher. The family refuses to go back inside their home. Inspector Jose Negri didn't think much of it. Domestic issue maybe? Someone panicking during a storm. But when he pulled up to the building, the scene waiting for him didn't look like any domestic dispute. Rain was pouring so hard it looked like the entire building was melting into the street. The stairwell was a waterfall. And under the awning, huddled together like refugees, stood the Gutierrez Lazaro family. A mother clutching a baby, a father white as the wall, 3 children staring up at their own apartment window, like something was staring back. Negri stepped out of the car and felt it immediately. Not panic. Fear, the bone-deep kind that doesn't come from arguments or broken dishes. The mother refused to move. She was shaking so hard her voice barely worked. And later, Negri would admit, after years of murder scenes and violence, he had never seen a family so terrified of their own home. Lightning flashed. The building almost seemed to hold its breath. Negri called for backup. Whatever was inside that apartment, something told him it might still be there. Six officers escorted the family up the stairwell, every footstep echoing strangely, too sharp, too hollow, like the building was amplifying their fear. The hallway light flickered twice before holding, giving the whole space this greasy amber glow. At the apartment door, the mother froze completely. Not trembling, just locked, like she already knew what waited on the other side. No one dared push her, so Negri stepped forward, slid the key into the lock, and the door opened into complete black. The family stopped at the threshold, clinging to one another, refusing to cross. Even the doorway felt like danger. Negri stepped inside first, and the temperature changed instantly. Not cold on the skin, cold in the bones. The air felt held, watched. Another officer guided the family into the living room, sagging sofa, kids' drawings on the wall. One hallway stretching deeper into the apartment like a tunnel. One of the daughters leaned toward Negri, quiet, matter of fact. It always gets worse when the lights are off. She'd said it like she's said it many times. They believed the house reacted to darkness. As soon as the lights went out, something else woke up. Negri didn't answer. Their faces told the story. He tilted his flashlight downward. The others followed. One by one, they switched off their lights. The apartment swallowed the darkness. Rain whispered against the windows. Everyone waited. A minute passed, then another, then A cabinet door slammed over and over, hard enough to shake the room. Every officer jumped. The pounding didn't stop. Negri barked a command. Lights flicked back on. Silence. The cabinet hung open. Nothing inside, nothing touching it. But the whole room had that heavy watching feeling, like whatever caused the noise was still there. The family said there were worse places inside that apartment, darker places. So they led the officers deeper. The hallway stretched ahead, long, narrow, pale walls, closed doors. Shadows clung to the corners even with all the lights on. Not accidental shadows, deliberate ones. The father stopped at one spot. This is where we saw him. Negri raised his flashlight. The beam passed over peeling wallpaper, family photos, and a crucifix hanging crooked on the wall, tilted just enough to suggest something had hit it. Negri asked quietly, "Who?" The father swallowed. "I don't know, but this is the place. Every time." The air thickened, like pressure before a storm. Then the mother spoke, voice tight, eyes locked on a doorway at the end of the hall. She said it felt like her father, but not the father she knew in life. He had died angry, very angry, and sometimes, she said, it felt like that anger never left the apartment. The flashlight swept the hallway again, and suddenly the space didn't feel still. It felt like something was holding still. Then an officer behind them whispered, "There's someone at the end of the hallway." Negri spun his light toward the doorway. Nothing, just darkness swallowing the beam. Only Estefania's room staring back like a black tunnel. Nothing moved, but the feeling stayed. Something had been standing there, watching, studying, choosing. The family whispered that the figure walked this hallway at night, not floating, not running, walking, stopping at each door. After Estefania died, it came every night, searching. Negri didn't comment, but his skin reacted before his brain did. The hair on his arms rose, cold wrapped around him. Something was there, old, angry, a presence that didn't belong among the living. They moved toward what the family would call the epicenter, Estefania's room, but before they could reach it, metal slammed against metal somewhere inside the apartment. Chaotic, violent. Negri bolted toward the sound, flashlight bouncing across the walls. He reached the terrace door, threw it open. Nothing. No metal, no overturned furniture, no wind, no explanation. One officer whispered, "That didn't come from nothing." But the terrace was still, quiet. The apartment, however, was changing, growing tighter, more alert, like it knew they'd reached the part it wanted to protect. One officer muttered something about checking outside and left quickly. Another followed without a word, then two more. Seasoned officers don't walk off scenes like this. Not for nerves. This was real fear. Only two remained with Negri. The family stood frozen, staring at the last officers like they were their only lifeline. The father finally spoke. "There's one more room, the worst one." Negri's light hit the wall. The small pearly crucifix, the one that had been slightly crooked earlier, was gone. Not fallen or broken, just gone. But the larger wooden crucifix across the room now hung upside down, not slipped, not tilted, turned. His light swept the door and froze. 3 long scratches, fresh, splintered, cut straight through a poster into the wood. The door had been cleaned minutes ago. Whatever did this, did it while they were in the room. Then Negri saw a shine on the nightstand. Something dark and glossy had begun to seep from the wood grain. Thick, brown, viscous, like the furniture was bleeding. A bead formed, trembled, and slid down the surface. The officer couldn't speak. The mother clapped a hand over her mouth. She'd seen it before. Negri felt something pressing against his spine. Not a touch, a presence. Something was here, watching them, claiming the space. Then it hit. A weight. Heavy, crushing. Not wind, not movement. Presence, like something tall and furious had stepped right behind them. Negri didn't see it. He felt it. His instinct screamed. The last officer cracked first. He backed out of the room. I have to get out, he whispered. Negri didn't stop him. This wasn't fear, this was survival. Even the bravest know when a room crosses a line. This room was past it. Negri pulled the door shut slowly, like sealing something inside. Whatever was in there, it could stay. None of this started with the police. It started months earlier in a school bathroom. 4 girls crowded around a makeshift Ouija board they'd drawn on cardboard. One of the girls had recently lost her boyfriend in a motorcycle accident. She wasn't looking for danger. She wanted a sign. Anything that might feel like he's still out there. They sat in a circle, a glass flipped upside down as a planchette. A candle flickered beside them, its light bouncing across the tile. Before they could even ask a question, the flame snapped sideways, like something rushed by. The glass scraped, just a tiny sound, enough to make them all look up. They never got a chance to continue. The bathroom door burst open. A teacher stormed in, furious, calling it satanic nonsense. She tore the board in half and threw the pieces to the floor. The girls jumped back. The glass slipped, shattered, and from the shards, something rose. A weird smoke, thin and dark, drifting upward in a slow curl. The girls froze. Then it moved. Straight towards Estefanía. All 3 of her friends later said the same thing. The weird smoke went right into her mouth like it chose her. She gasped, just once, a sharp inhale she couldn't stop. Her eyes flickered for half a second, like something inside her stalled. And whatever came into that bathroom left with her. At first, it was small, shadows at the edge of her sight. Her name whispered from empty corners, that electric feeling of someone right behind her. At night, she told her parents she felt watched. Not from the doorway, from the ceiling, from the corners no one looks at. Her behavior changed, distracted, anxious, listening for something. She stared at empty space like someone was speaking to her. Sometimes she answered. Then the voices began, quiet, urgent, angry when she ignored them. Doctors tried to help, but nothing worked. And the house changed with her. Shadows moved, doors slammed, objects flew. Her sisters woke one night to a faceless black figure crawling along the wall, limbs bent all the wrong ways, before it dropped silently to the floor and tore the room apart. Her parents found the girl shaking on the floor, the room destroyed, and Estefanía standing in the doorway, looking into the corner where the figure had vanished, not afraid, recognizing it. The final weeks were catastrophic. Convulsions, blackouts, twisting fits, whispers only she could hear. She kept saying one thing: "The shadows are waiting for me." She died suddenly, no cause agreed upon. And the house, it didn't quiet. It grew louder. A photo of her dropped, and only her face inside the frame was burnt away. Her father woke to a dark figure beside his bed. And then, one night, a scream, a crash, a locked room torn apart from the inside. And the family broke. They ran into the rain and they refused to go back inside. Six officers arrived that night. Only 2 stayed. What they witnessed included impossible cold, shadows that moved, objects thrown, crucifixes turning on their own, scratches appearing in real time, pressure that felt like a person entering the room or crossing between them. Their official report ended with one word: inexplicable. They never changed it, never softened it. Their story remains the same to this day. The family left days later, locked the door. They never returned. People blamed grief, teenage games, even hysteria. But no theory explained the shadows, the voices, the figure in the hallway, or why seasoned officers refused to go back inside. Because whatever was in that apartment did not die with her. Some say it never left. Because sometimes the dead don't cross over. Sometimes they stay in the space between.